I'm so glad we have you on to discuss the magic of face cards. One of the
Yeah.
most powerful of the cardomantic omens, I believe.
Really is powerful. It's like capturing someone's essence, but they have the veneers on. Like, what are you gonna do?
No.
It's like the signifier card, but like instead of it being one of the major arcana, it's just your face.
But it's like strangely shiny, like a little.
Yeah,
Like you put it
and
through
like
one of
very,
those
very,
filters.
very like detailed.
Yeah, it's the pores are a little.
It's the face tune.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the new Netflix Avatar: The Last Airbender, like the live action one? I haven't, but like I'm scared to watch it because everyone's in the posters. They're so airbrushed.
It's the same thing. Like they do that on Bridgerton as well. So I know it's a Netflix thing, but like the reason they take so long in post production is because they're airbrushing everybody.
They have to get rid of every single pore of these already very beautiful people.
No, but that's literally it though, because I like if you watch any of that, like all the screen caps look like paintings.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, how?
Like, I like a little bit of human charm, you know? I want to see that you're real. 'Cause otherwise, it pings my need to scry people where I'm just like, are you real? Are you AI? What's going on?
This is what you look like without the airbrushing.
No, not scrying through the filters. That's a new way to check your magical ability.
You're not scrying through the glamour anymore. You're like, show me what you look like pre-Photoshop.
Let me see where that where those clavicles were lower to. Actually,
show me where the pores are.
Literally, yeah. I do feel like it is a remarkable effort on all of our parts to not call this the looks maxing episode.
It's very true.
You'll get a new audience that way.
But it's not. It's about one of the oldest forms of magic that there is, and one that I feel like is not often spoken about too publicly.
There are loads of benefits and there's loads of different ways that you can kind of customize and play around with it that I feel like even when it is discussed, it's not often played with. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Oh, me too. I think a part of it for sure is that there are so many like complicated and problematic elements to like discussions of beauty that are deeply colonial and deeply influenced by like Western ideals of whiteness. And I think that in talking about beauty magic and knowing we're not talking about aspiring to a particular ideal that doesn't even exist and is essentially a caricature, formed out of racism. We're talking about making sure that you feel good in your skin and that you are able to kind of enhance your features in a way that you want to, as opposed to necessarily like mold them into some utter standard.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the main things that I really want to emphasize with this episode is that beauty is very subjective. And I think, in my opinion, one of the most important things that you have to kind of identify if you want to really see incredible results with this type of work is to sort of figure out for yourself what beauty is to you and what you think is beautiful within yourself and in others. Because, like that for me is one of the biggest things that I think this kind of work can really help people with is to sort of bring that out in themselves. And I really want to emphasize as well that like this kind of work is very customizable and it can be incredibly specific to what you personally find beautiful and what you're drawn to and what you want. And it doesn't necessarily need to be what everyone else. I think something that I really notice with this type of work is that when you use like beauty magic in particular, you can make things that might not be conventionally attractive or societally attractive become really attractive to other people and be noted as very attractive, I think, is the important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like finding the aesthetic and the thing that makes, what you find attractive in yourself may not be what you find attractive in other people, but owning that and embodying it and being confident and radiant in it is gonna turn heads either way, and it will also broaden people's horizons too.
Because I think, especially now, like I have been noticing this trend of, people talking about how everyone kind of starts to look the same because they're all getting the same surgeries to the point where people almost don't find that beautiful anymore, where it probably once was because everyone wanted that surgery or they wanted that feature. But then by nature of, people seeing it again and again and again without any sort of variation, it kind of loses its power and its importance, I guess. it kind of loses the rarity of it, right? Because the thing that really kind of pulls people into something beautiful is the fact that it's rare, it's coveted, and it's something that they don't usually see everywhere else. I think it's the important thing. And this kind of magic really does have the power to sort of make your unique features or your unique traits or whatever it is beautiful to other people and be recognized as such. I think that's the thing that I really wanted to emphasize with this, is that it can be fully customizable to what you want and what you would like, and that can be a very subtle enhancement or it can be something really drastic, but it's kind of up to you.
Absolutely, and very well said.
Be not alarmed at the frightful howls which you may hear. It's Svinga.
Was good.
And bombastic side-eye key.
We're gonna say that for the Evil Eye episode down the road, but I think before we started recording, we were talking about like the price of a good glamour is getting a lot of evil eye sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's make sure you be catching that.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you all heard, we have a guest today. A returning guest to the show, Red Who.
From one of our most beloved episodes, I believe episode 26 on foxes, and fox magic specifically, which was one of the most fun, ones that we ever recorded, really talking about Daji, talking about all kinds of really fun things having to do with the different like Chinese myths around nine-tailed foxes and the fun, nasty things they get up to. And what a kind of spirit as well that is so renowned for beauty and enchantment and granting beauty to women as well as taking it. So I think we're really excited to have you back on to talk about something that is, again, like often whispered about and mentioned in terms of glamours and different kinds of things, but not as often discussed in like occult circles. And what a shame that is, because it's such an important part of life.
Well, I'm really glad to be back, and I'm really glad that that episode is as well received as it was.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it makes me very, very happy. And I'm really excited for our subject today.
Yeah, so happy to have you on. And if you want to talk about beauty magic with us or just kind of different glamours and things and techniques and ways to protect yourself, do check us out on patreon.com/The Frightful Howls. We have a bonus episode every month curated by and just for our patrons. We got a whole Discord server. All three of us are in there for you to come in and chat. A monthly live occult book club where we discuss a text of your choosing. Just recently, we did Battle of Fates, the Korean divination show, as our quote book of the month, or in this case, show. We got show notes for every episode and a whole tier of monthly group spell work from us on your behalf.
And while you're there, remember to give us a like, a rating, and a review on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you might be listening to us. Shout out to the Libsyn enjoyers. It helps us fight the demiurge of the algorithm.
And check out our services. Key offers personalized coaching in magic and mediumship, sorcery for hire, readings, custom talismans, oils, and tools. You name it, he does it. He also teaches Lenormand courses. So if you'd like to learn how to divine with the good old cards of Lenormand, feel free to hit him up. I offer bulk and fancy readings, and both of us offer occasional limited occult wares over on withcunningandcommand.com. As of recording, there's still a couple left of my St. George charms of the Red Shield that were made this year on St. George's Day on Judith Done, and I'm really happy with them. They are for bringing and protecting love that you have in your life, or new love that you would like to have in your life. I'm really, really proud of them, so feel free to check them out on withcunningandcommand.com.
Yeah, they are fantastic and not to be missed. And while you're there, if you want to see some pictures of these charms or, get in touch with any of us, hit us up on social media. Svinga is at Dragon Cunning. I'm at Barnell.key. And Red, where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at Witchcraft in Red.
Beautiful. Well, welcome again. So excited to have you. We chat all the time and, hang out very
Yeah, we
regularly,
do.
but we just haven't had a time to actually sit down and record an episode. But we're
Mhm,
here, we're ready, and just excited to chat all things glamour and beauty.
mhm.
So, Red, tell us, like, how did you first get fascinated with beauty magic, and how did you kind of get into its practical components?
Well, the thing is, I've kind of been doing beauty magic for a really long time. I started doing magic really young, and I think this was like one of the areas that I was always really, really sort of fascinated by, and so I started tinkering with it pretty early on. I think doing this kind of stuff over time definitely results in more tangible results.
Like, it's cumulative.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that's really nice because I think it all kind of builds on each other. And obviously, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, and the more sort of physical results that you'll get. Because the thing I notice about beauty magic is that usually they're quite general, right? Like it's general enchanting for beauty. But as we talked about before, beauty is very subjective. And I noticed that earlier on, the more general I was, also the more general the compliments were that I would be getting, because that's one way to measure your results. Like I would have people when I was a teenager, for example, say like, "You're really beautiful," but like they couldn't tell me why. Like I think at one point as well, like one specific quote that I always remember is someone was saying to me, "You're really pretty, and the more I look at you, the more beautiful you become." Which for me was like, it's the glamour. Uh,
You're like, it's working.
I was like, "Thank you." But yeah, I think I do think it's very cumulative, but, like, I also think the more you do it, the more you realize that sort of the fun in beauty magic is through the sort of customization of it, because again, I would say, like, with more general stuff, like, you do notice, like, the overall effect, I would say, as opposed to, like, any defining feature or any defining trait, because I feel like with most people, like you can usually point out, like why they're beautiful. But I notice with people that do beauty magic or like beauty magic in general, unless it's applied to a very specific goal or I don't know, feature or something, it does tend to result in the sort of, oh, you're really beautiful, but I can't put a finger on it. Or I like being in your presence, but I don't know why, or you have a very beautiful presence or something like that. Like the compliments tend to be that sort of vague I'm attracted to you, but I don't know why type of thing. Or I find you beautiful, but I don't know why type of thing, depending on what spin you put on it, I guess. And I do find that also when you do it at sort of very specific milestones in your life, I guess, like, like when you're going through puberty, for example, which is when I started, or when you're about to hit sort of the mid 20s or the 30s or something like that. Like these big milestones in your life that are also still marked by physical changes in your body as well. I find they do tend to have the most effect when you apply it at these points. Yeah. Very, very rambly, very rambly response to the question, but yeah.
I was actually recently in a class with Corinne Boyer, who wrote many beautiful books for
Mhm.
Three Pence Press and so on plant magic. And one of the things that she was mentioning was that beauty is such an important part of magic because to enchant yourself with like the ritual that you made is beautiful to you, even if it's very like in some ways just bare bones. It's sticks and it's wood and it's all those other kinds of things, but it looks beautiful to you. It has that kind of charming, enchanting aesthetic of like this feels like magic to me, and it will feel different for each person. For
Mhm.
some people, that is a ceremonial setup with like chalk on the floor and everything being there. And I'm not saying that these protocols are only for the aesthetic reasons, but I mean like the magic that you're doing should have a psychodramatic effect on you that is actively lulling you into trance, that is seducing you and part of the tapestry of what you're working. So it's not just about yourself becoming more physically attractive in ways that you feel more comfortable in your skin, and not necessarily even for the sake of other people so that you get their validation and attention, but so that you feel that like it doesn't matter what people think, if you feel good and it's part of your kind of holistic health in many ways. And it's not about meeting a particular standard that, again, as we mentioned earlier, can be deeply rooted in very like white supremacist ideals in the West, as well as in ideals of thinness, fat phobic ideals, and so on and so forth, very like sexist ideals. I think that one of the interesting things about just beauty be divorcing it a little bit beyond just the feeling of like specific like moments of attraction between people is like your magic when it's beautiful, when it seduces you, when the tincture that you make, you put in a beautiful vessel, or when the oil that you make goes in a jar that you think is really beautiful. Maybe it starts off in like a pasta jar, that you just happen to clean out because you had nothing else. But you tell the oil, like in time, like this is something that our godfather Tatapoca and Jesse Hathaway Diaz spoke of wonderfully in his 2025 talk at Frittishini Symposium on oil making. Is like you can reward the oil by being like, I'll get you a beautiful bottle, if you really work for me, if you do really good things for me, if you sell well, that kind of thing. And it's just this notion of like making your shrines even more aesthetically pleasing, making your house more beautiful. Like I recently have been really investing in decorating my home more and investing more in my skincare, investing more in my hair care and stuff. And it's been so nice to just kind of feel like, okay, things are clicking together. I feel good, the space feels good, and I'm able to feel more at myself and more at ease, and my magic is flowing more because I'm not feeling this kind of like I'm muscling through it. Rather, I'm also being enchanted and co-enchanted by the work that I'm doing. So even making sure that the things that you do is part of that, the pictures that you take of of your life, that stay on your camera, on your reel, like, it's things that you like to look back on. Like that kind of enchantment is its own soothing and its own kind of, in some ways, road opener, really, for you to have the energy to keep going and to keep pursuing more things.
Say, really big offering to your own spirit to look put together, to look good, to feel good in your own skin. And with all this magic, it's kind of a play on doing that. And I think an extension of doing that because, one component of beauty magic, like to get a little bit ahead of myself in the practice is always including something for confidence. Because that is the thing that is like sexy, where it doesn't necessarily matter what the person looks like. It's do they own it and do they rock it? And like are they able to just command the room in whatever way that they want by just being themselves? And I think in that, when they have a strong spirit that way, this is a quick avenue to get there.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's really important what you guys mentioned about the importance of beauty, not just to spirits, but in the world as well, because, we're all drawn to beautiful things and we all seek it out for whatever reason. And obviously, what that is specifically can always change, but it can be dismissed as something frivolous or like something that is, not for people who want to pursue sort of deeper aspects of life or people who seek out like depth and meaning in life. But I do think subconsciously we're always drawn to beautiful things. It puts us at ease, it makes us happy, it makes us excited, right? And this is just an extension of that. And I really like it as an offering to yourself and an act of love almost. Because I also think that like beauty is just really important to us, whether we acknowledge it or not. You see it all the time in society. Like people talk about pretty privilege, for example, and it may not be great, but that is sort of the reality of the world. And I think it's just one way in which that need and that urge and that desire for beauty kind of manifests in our life.
Totally. And I love what you said, just that it's if we can kind of divorce the notion of it away from kind of questions like or notions of like frivolity or frivolousness or vanity, or this is just something shallow that people who aren't like deep or who aren't like also intellectual and artistic and sensitive, who all those other kinds of things are also involved with, but to be like, this is a part of life. We everyone loves beauty. Like I not uh, I'm sorry, I have to say it. So Plato's Symposium is all about
Yes.
I'm sorry, is all about the question of what is the beautiful, what is beauty, and what is love. And it's actually one of the only times that Socrates like really discusses having a female teacher, like a female initiatic teacher called Diotima, who explains to him the nature of beauty and says that it is the desire for the good. Like it is when you recognize the beauty in trees or in flowers, or you see the beauty in music and it moves your soul, and you see the beauty in art or in the sculptures, or even you see something more abstract, like the beauty of a really well, this is so, Athenian, the beauty of a really well run government, where everything is working well and the citizens are happy and healthy, right? And then you can, or even the beauty of a mathematical proof, like when you solve something after a lot of struggle mathematically and are just like, oh, there it is, aha, like it worked, right? And that is beauty beautiful too. Like, what do all these things have in common? Like, what is the form of the beautiful that they are all participating in that makes it so we can all describe them as beautiful, even if it seems like there's not a lot that like a very beautiful woman has in common with a beautiful mathematical proof. But if you abstract it far enough, like what are they participating in? According to Diotima and Socrates, it's the form of the beautiful, which is none other than the desire for good, the desire for something that, for that ultimate kind of good, the way that things can be aligned and right. And it doesn't mean that there is like, I think for our purpose that there's some kind of objective standard necessarily of like physical beauty. I think but I do love what you guys both mentioned about that confidence that it's the maybe you can liken it to a kind of being able to radiate with a particular feeling of being aligned with oneself and one's nature. That you're expressing it in a way where whether through fashion or through aesthetics or through just kind of being at ease with yourself, that you are desiring and seeking and turning towards the good. Plato would disagree to say whatever that means for you. He would consider it completely objective. But let's just say for the sake of the argument of the episode that it is, the good for you. Although that would be very controversial to a Platonist, of course, where it's a much more objective good. But we'll leave it at that just for now for the sake of the episode.
Yeah, it's like a curation, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And, like, I'm sitting
Um,
right now looking at my backyard, from where I'm recording, and I'm just, like I'm enchanted by the beauty of the nature around me, and I love seeing, the beauty of things that I put together and of charms that I make or in ways that I compose myself or in ways that I just feel, the feeling of it doesn't matter if someone else doesn't find me attractive, but I love the feeling of certain things on my skin and certain ways that I present myself and certain ways that, I make my matcha latte in the morning, that kind of thing, and, the way that it kind of the green melts in with the oat milk and the cold foam that I put on top. Like these things, it's good to kind of enchant yourself, and it's good to, I think, play with these things and make sure that one ingredient that's never missing for your ritual work is that it appeals to you, is that you are seduced by it and that you're enchanted by it, and that psychodramatic effect essentially is taking place, unraveling you and allowing you to pull you deeper into trance and deeper into spirits because you are also seduced by your work.
yeah, I think that's very, very, very well said. Um, I also think it's kind of important to mention that, like, like beauty, touching on that, it in its form, in its like sort of most historical form, I think it sort of denotes health. It denotes status and all of these things that are coveted by people and that people desire and want to cultivate. So I think that might be also another way to look at it. Not just the curation of aesthetics that appeal to you and that you are enchanted by, but also ways in which, you can sort of improve your own life and your own health and all of these things. And I do notice it because you brought up nature. Like, we're taken in by these really healthy plants that are like blooming with, really lush foliage and stuff like that. And it's kind of the same concept. And no one would ever make comments, for example, about a plant wanting to be beautiful or appearing beautiful. And so going back to that idea of being belittled for wanting beauty or wanting to curate and seek out beauty, I think that's an important way to look at it as well.
And it's also just not true, right? Like, just nobody who is like, "Oh, I intentionally only watch bad movies and consume, like, things that I find ugly." Like, we all do seek the beautiful. That's another argument that is made in that dialogue, it's not like, "Oh, well, I'm just more refined and less shallow than you, so I don't really care." Like, even someone with an ascetic practice is pursuing the beauty of asceticism, you know,
Mm,
of minimalism and so on. And so it's at the end of the day, I think that's just to get that out of the way, right, is like it's not frivolous and it's not shallow. And we
mhm.
all seek it. What I think where it can tip into frivolosity and where it can tip into shallowness is when the pursuit of an aesthetic, it becomes more important than the pursuit of the good. To be
Yeah,
a little philosophical about it, I think it's like whenever when the only thing that you're after is kind of consumerism wise is just the a particular look and not the way it makes you feel and not necessarily the way it can contribute to goodness. If it becomes a source of competition where it's just like, is this person prettier than me or vice versa? What's going on? Where like you have it becomes kind of rat race as opposed to a celebration of the beauty in all of us. And you don't have to find everything beautiful, but you can appreciate that, for another person, that is beautiful for them.
yeah.
Well, let's chat techniques. What are sort of the things that you have discovered in your practice, and what are some of the things you make use of?
I always think about it as sort of I would say it's I wouldn't put it in a like super separate category to something like
Uh-huh.
luck magic or money magic, for example, because it is at the end of the day about curating and creating a particular resource, if that helps people. Because I know certain people have concepts about it, right? Like about beauty, if they don't feel beautiful and whatever. And I want to start by like sort of creating this sort of metaphor in that way because in a way beauty can sort of we touched on one aspect of it, but the other aspect that I think is more practical in people's lives is similar to sort of luck magic. It can create opportunities that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get. Again, we mentioned pretty privilege a tiny bit, but it can help you land a job. It can get you free things in life. It can sort of generate resources in that way and help you advance to positions that you may have otherwise not had. And I don't necessarily agree with this sort of phenomenon in society, but I think as magicians, if that if there is that opportunity, we should leverage it. So I find with beauty magic, usually there are two approaches, which is either highlighting or masking like things about yourself. Generally, I think they tend to fall into these two categories. And before we get into sort of the specifics of techniques, I think I want to go into first, like, kind of creating that sort of blueprint for customizing your spells. Because there is a lot out there, like we said before, but I do feel like they tend to be very general. And again, like, I feel like if you want to start narrowing down a beauty spell, for example, you I would always recommend first sitting down and thinking, what is beauty to you and what does it look like and what does it mean to you and what you're sort of hoping it will do for you and what the sort of measurement of the success of your magic will be. And the reason I bring this up is because I know some people use this as a sort of test, and I do think that it is a sort of good experimentation um field because of the fact that there's very little room for things to go wrong. And I think that, everyone can always do with a little beauty boost. But I also mention this because I think it will really determine sort of the approaches and it will kind of clarify what you want. Because if you sort of know, for example, if your goal is, I'm gonna do a beauty spell and I'm doing it because I want a lot of compliments, then you will know that if you suddenly get a lot of compliments, that's how you know your magic is working. And I also think that once you know sort of the desired effects, it becomes a lot easier to sort of simplify because, like we talked about, beauty is really subjective. It can't really be measured otherwise. But I also want to sort of mention that you don't always need to measure it by how people react to you, and there is room for it to be more individual, um, and more about maybe you want to feel a certain way. You want to see something when you look in the mirror instead of something else that maybe you don't feel as comfortable with or you're not as confident about. And you want to stop noticing that and you want to notice something else instead. There's sort of lots of room to play around with it. And I also think thinking about how general you want the spell to be in terms of targets is really important. For example, if you want to target, a specific person or a group or just everyone. And I think it's also really important to think about to what extent you want to target these people. I think the specificity is really important because it will help you achieve not only like precisely what you want, and not be so general about it, but also because I think it's just always good because there is room, like we talked about, for people to get evil-eyed. Um, and so I think being as specific as possible with the spell, is one way to sort of prevent that, and also adding more protective clauses in the wording of your spells could really help with that. Um, because there's a lot of crazy people out there, and this kind of work can sort of draw a bit more of that to you, whether that's people that want to evil eye you or just more general crazy people. I think if you're a female presenting person, most people will know what I'm referring to. Not all attention is good attention, right? And especially if you're an attractive person, um, you might want to add a clause in your beauty magic that says, the only people that will be drawn to me are people with good intentions, or you might want to filter out people who might harass you or get violent or aggressive. Something like that, I think, would be good. Or you could also kind of do this protection thing by attaching it to a talisman that you can choose not to carry if you don't want the attention. But I would honestly just put in the claws because it never hurts.
Totally.
It's an interesting exploration of spell design, right? If you're thinking about how are you affecting yourself versus how are you affecting someone's perception of you, either directly or through yourself. Because I think, we've all allegedly taken out the skull candle and worked it to have a particular end take place or have someone's mind to be changed or perception be altered directly. But there's something to be said for, if you're going into the meeting that you've just jujued the person you're meeting with, helps to still be put together. You're still acting the spell out by how you're dressed, how you're carrying yourself, what you're wearing, how you smell, even of like, I just put a really nasty domination powder all over myself. Let's, throw some perfume on afterwards to cover that up. And like each of these are not only practical considerations, but perceptual ones that are influencing people all the same. It's a magic all its own.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, like we talked about the luck analogy, beauty, in my opinion, can really boost your luck as well. Like we talked about the job thing, people do better in job interviews if they're well presented. And unfortunately, it has been shown that people who are attractive to the interviewer tend to do better. And so in that way, it can also really help boost your job workings, your luck workings. A lot of things can be really boosted by beauty magic. And so I really wouldn't dismiss it in any capacity, because I think people often really underestimate the power of it and the hold it can have over people, and the way it can sort of boost your life in general.
Yeah, I love how we were talking earlier a little about, especially in the context of like Chinese traditional medicine, is that there are plenty of situations where recipes will really be about beauty, but restoring health and balance, which improves beauty as well. It's a kind of holistic attitude that comes from being more aligned with your own health as well.
Yeah, I mean, there are loads of like Chinese TCM based soup recipes, for example, that I think of. They're called like beauty soups, but they're really meant to boost sort of health and increase collagen and things like that. And to sort of restore balance, I think is the most important thing, because, you can't be, because a lot of sort of these like health related issues can sort of manifest in, for example, your skin or your hair. And so, like the real basis and the root of beauty in sort of Chinese medicine is increasing that balance and increasing the health
Mm,
of everyone. And so I think that's also a really important way to think about it. There is that like sort of health spin on some beauty magic when we start to get
mm,
into the specificity of it, of, if you've got skin issues or hair, or even if you don't have any issues and you just want, your skin to glow a bit more, your hair to be shinier, it does come from within, and it does come from a sort of more health lens to it. And, like there are, I think it was Rose who has been on the podcast before that told
mhm,
me to consider sort of the health aspect in beauty magic as well, because there is an element of sort of healing to some aspects of beauty magic if you're not looking to sort of do a glamour or like really enhance something, but you just want to be and embody. And I think that's a really good way to sort of think about it and to sort of boost your health and your magic and your well-being in general.
mhm.
um I think, yeah. And my mom also tells me this, of, you can't be super beautiful unless you get unless you get the right amount of sleep, and you're eating
Uh,
well and you're taking care of yourself and stuff
I'll
like that. I think is really important.
can I tell you something about the beauty soups?
Yes.
I have been eating my snow fungus, my jujube,
I love.
my lotus seeds, my goji berries.
Mhm.
I've been
Mhm.
soaking them. I've been making them with rock sugar.
Yes.
I have been
My mom
doing it.
tells me to take out the rock sugar, but it tastes so good,
It
right?
does. It tastes really nice with the rock sugar, but I've been doing like the red dates and the goji berries and ginger without, just as like a tea. But it is really
Mm-mm.
nice with the rock sugar, and I've been having my black sesame. For sure. It's wonderful. I've been doing I've been really into, like, collagen boosting things lately. It's been really great.
Mhm. I think it's really important, and it does show that link, like, people take all these beauty supplements anyway, but
Mhm.
the thing is, some of those beauty supplements are not very good for you, so
Yeah.
it's always better to go the natural route, in my opinion. Tried and tested,
Mhm.
China's been around for a long time. Uh, these
They got it
recipes
down.
survive for a reason.
Yeah, they got
Uh,
it down.
yeah, and also, when it comes down to this as well, like, there is also that sort of very controversial side of sort of health that's related to beauty of, like doctors and surgeries and but also like skincare, I guess. There's a lot of aesthetic doctors out there, and so if you want to go that route, I would also really recommend using magic and divination to find the right doctor and surgeon, or even nothing like that extreme, but like even a tattoo artist, or like if you're going to get permanent makeup done, or you're even looking at skincare. I think like doing a road opening to find the right doctor, or um, doing divination to check if your skincare is going to break you out. Stuff like that can also make a huge difference, I think, if you want to go for a more subtle method, I guess. And I will say that this is really important because there are a lot of botched surgeries out there. There's a lot of doctors who might have their own sort of preconceptions and might not listen to you. So I do think it's really important to find the right one.
You
So
know,
if you're going to go that route.
I'm so glad you raised this because we were talking about this with a friend like a few years ago, where how sometimes your health magic, like to improve your health, like if you have a chronic illness or there's something that's going on, sometimes one of the ways it manifests is not in like just alleviating your symptoms, but in helping you find the right specialist who can actually help you. So you're not wasting so much time being bounced from referral to referral. It's like you found the person who can diagnose and help you and like give a remedy that will actually last. Like for really good friends of mine who have serious issues with eczema, for example, or any other kinds of
Hmm.
skin conditions, like they've already tried so many steroid creams, they've already been to so many dermatologists, and it's just this never-ending cycle of the next thing that's not really working. And part of the way that their magic has succeeded is in helping them find the person, even a friend who just is like, "Hey, I had the same thing. I have similar symptoms to you. This is what worked for me. Maybe ask your dermatologist about this." And that was the thing that worked. Or even like
Hmm.
how many people I know, just to shout out our friend Maria of Green Dragon Healer, who really were able to excel and help a lot with their health because she was able to kind of get to the bottom of something that other people couldn't. So I think that your notion about that is extremely important because, like, I mean, I've gone through a whole list of Korean beauty, different kinds of like skincare items, and like some of them did break me out, even if they work great for other people, because my skin texture and composition is a little bit different. So, like, having gone through some divination now, I found a routine that I totally subjected Key to when we did um, our face masks and different things that been I've been getting him on that shit for sure, on the beard oil and the
Mhm.
hair oil and everything, and I've been like,
Yeah.
"Look, here's my cleanser, here's my moisturizer, here's my eye cream," we've gone through all of it, and, like, truly, you don't really need all of it, you know what I mean? Like, a simple like,
Hmm.
calming moisturizer and cleanser will do, but, like, it was one of those fun things to kinda play around with it and be like, "This actually works for my very sensitive skin," I do get red and flushed with very easily from different kinds of skin products, like, my skin is very sensitive, and it will get really inflamed if I use too many products, so I
Same.
actually can't have, like, an 8 plus step routine. I need something
Hmm.
very, very small, that will not irritate me, and once I put the sunscreen on, like, it's locked in, and it's not gonna be, like, overwhelmed with too much stuff going on. Um,
Yeah.
and that also I found that out through, yes, trial and error, but also through divination, so I don't have to spend too much money.
Yeah, and I mean, also, like, if you keep breaking out and you don't know why, and you're swapping out, every single thing of your skincare routine, sometimes just scrying your entire, like, all your products, sometimes you'll find the one.
I looked in the mirror and I held up each one in my hand and I kind of channeled my energy through the cream, for example, and then I channeled it through
Mhm.
my skin and I looked at myself in the mirror and saw in the mirror what like in dim light, like it was completely dark in the bathroom, but I
Yeah,
had like
yeah.
one little candle and I looked at it and I was like, and I noticed if my face got flushed or changed like in the mirror, but not in real life because I wasn't actually applying it. And
Mm,
then I was like, oh, it's you. It's this freaking toner that everyone says is good, but it's killing me right now.
yeah. For me, it
Or-
was my sunscreen,
mm-hmm.
which I had used for years, and I could never figure out, I thought it was the cream, I thought it was the
Yeah,
cleanser, but no, it was
yeah,
the sunscreen.
I know.
It was the
And
sunscreen that everyone's talking about on social media.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I swear by my own ingredients, like, moisturizer because it's so light, but, like, this rice toner I was using, I thought it was great because I was like, "Oh, it's rice milk, it's wonderful. Isn't that really calming and soothing?" Like, I love rice milk baths, spiritually. Whatever else they put into it was not good for my skin.
Yeah, so if anyone wants a fun divination thing,
Yeah.
just go scry your skincare.
Yeah.
Scry the ingredient list as well. But I also like honestly, it saved me so much money once I started doing this in the store, if I'm thinking of buying something, I just scry it and be like, "Is this gonna break me out?"
Yep.
Um, and usually you will know. And I have not listened to my own divination before, and I did break out, so,
Totally.
I I've been new.
I literally got Key a beard oil this way by scrying it in the store and being like, "Oh, I feel like this would be great for his texture. Let me call him." Like, "Do you want this?"
Yeah, I, got it right here with me. It's even caffeinated.
Oh, yeah.
Got all my plant allies in it. It's great, great beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah,
I love how you just are always drawn to things that are basically Van Van.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Just cut through the bullshit.
Mhm.
yeah. If it ain't broke, don't break
Yeah, right.
it.
Love it.
Um, yeah, but I mean, I also think it's really important when it comes to sort of finding like tattoo artists or things like that because it is permanent. It goes on your skin. It's important to find the right person as well because so much can go wrong, guys. Trust.
Mhm.
And then I mean, we can talk a bit more about like construction stuff or like charms and
Yeah.
materia. I really like plant materia for this reason because again, like we talked about, nature is sort of the thing that most people will find beautiful. I really like using the blooms for this reason because they're the most pretty part of the plant, right? Usually. So yeah, like I really like flower materia for this. Also, I find fruit can be really helpful, but I would be careful with the fruit stuff if you're not trying to go for the really like, sexy kind of femme fatale type of vibe because I do find that they can sometimes bring more of that vibe to things, which is great if you're looking for it, but if you don't wanna get, like, catcalled and harassed and stuff, that might not be great. Um, again, do the protection and stuff like that. My favorite types of plants, I guess, for this kind of thing are roses. I like apple blossoms as well, and then also some jasmine and marigold. I think with, like, all of these plants as well, there's a really interesting thing that I've noticed with sort of correspondences and like especially like planetary associations. Because obviously I think people when they think of like planetary stuff for beauty magic, the immediate thing that we think of is Venus, right? Because she rules love and beauty and all that kind of stuff. But I do find again, depending on what you're looking for and the specifics of what you want and are looking to achieve, I find that sometimes varying it out can be really helpful. I'll probably explain this through aesthetics. Like, again, if you're looking for more of that like sexy kind of vibe, I would obviously go in with a bit more of a martial flair. I also really like the lunar stuff for this kind of thing because I think it adds this sort of like dreamy, soft, kind of mystical quality without it really edging too far into the sexiness aspect, I would say. It's not necessary I wouldn't necessarily describe it as, like, super soft because I do find there can be this kind of vampiric kind of vibe to it sometimes. But, like, if you're looking to sort of boost your sort of fame, you want more attention, go for the solar stuff. If you're looking I would say if you're looking more for, like, you want to be attractive for a job and you don't really wanna deal with any of the other stuff, obviously, I would go with Jupiter or even Mercury to sort of increase the communication aspect. Or like enchanting the voice, that can be a really good one that I really like, the beauty of the voice, to make people listen to you, make people compliment your voice, especially if you're a singer or something like that. It could be really fun for karaoke night if you want to experiment.
That's a
Yeah, do
good
you guys have anything to add?
I was gonna say that's a good idea because I just did a karaoke night with some friends recently for a birthday,
Mhm.
and I should have done that.
Yeah, you'll get loads of compliments.
Mhm.
Um,
I,
or
uh,
like,
I
if you're giving a big speech or something like that,
right.
could be really useful.
To triangulate the eyes, right? To triangulate, like, the if you're gonna get a lot of attention, you might as well know how to kinda triangulate it and weaponize it and use it and even
Mhm.
pick off of it. Like, I think about that a lot with, like, Key and I have been raving a lot lately, and it's just interesting to see, like, when there's a huge, like, buildup of ecstasy and energy, and everyone is just, soaring, and the main, the headliner is playing, and we're all, like, sweating our asses off in this, grungy warehouse, fanning each other, and there's so much energy you can tie up into knots and use and recycle and direct and use to empower things, and it's so much collective effervescence to use, I suppose, a Durkheimian term, just sociology-wise, and there's a lot you can do with that, so I love that as well, just for
Yeah.
channeling it for even smaller things like a karaoke night or just a speech or a presentation and being like, "My words are beautiful, my speech is beautiful, this is a beautiful
Mhm.
lecture that I'm giving."
Yeah, I mean, I really wanna emphasize that, like, it's not all about necessarily the face. Like, that's why I talk about, like, the specifics of what you want, right? And the specifics of why you're doing it is really important because it really opens up so many more options than you might think of. Because I think when people think of beauty magic, it really is just, "Oh, I wanna be pretty, and I want people to think I'm pretty." But it can serve so many more purposes than that of, I wanna make people listen to me, or I wanna make people think that the message that I'm telling them is beautiful because the voice in which it's presenting these ideas in is so beautiful. I want to make people listen to me. I want to make people more drawn in. Um, all of that can be really, really beneficial to sort of hit with the beauty of stuff.
Mhm, totally.
Hmm.
Really just capturing that form of beauty in anything that you're doing, the inherent artistry to any act,
Hmm.
and emphasizing that as a primary, beauty magic drive is something I really love.
Oh yeah, and I really think it is really important to sort of really consider sort of the nuances of the material that you use. But that's something I advocate in sort of everything, really, all aspects of magic. Because, your plant allies can do a lot more than you might think, even if they're not necessarily associated with beauty. And also, again, I would be careful with, what you're using, even if it is sort of an herb or something that is sort of historically associated with beauty, if it doesn't really align with what your end goal is. Like, again, don't touch like all the Venus stuff, and or maybe include like just a tiny bit of it if your goal is not to get so much attention, in a sort of romantic or sexual sort of context. Um, just because I think sometimes that type of material can really push it into that sort of realm. Um, so yeah, just I think I really encourage sort of a lot more depth and nuance to how you consider things depending on your goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just so much stuff you can do, right? I think
Mhm.
about bathing rituals, like it's a huge thing
Mhm.
in Serbian culture and like traditional Serbian magic that has to do with beauty. It's washing the hair, it's washing the body, and like certain, not just washes made of herbs that you pick at certain times, especially like St. George's Day, for example, or St. George's Day Eve. These important fertility days where you're making this, or even Vidovdan, where you're making these washes where you go through the face, you look at the full moon, staring up once you're washing the face. You go to certain streams, or you roll over certain like wheat or flax and say, like as this grows strong and beautiful and long, so my hair may grow, may my
Mhm.
hair grow longer and stronger and shinier, that kind of thing. There's like dogwood trees, cornus mas, like kind of almost like whipping yourself with
Mhm.
switches and be like, we say zdrav kao dren, like healthy as the dogwood, like we use that as like a kind of notion to like, may I be strong and healthy like this. We take water that was spinning in a mill, and we
Mhm.
say like, as this was rotating and full of vibrancy, it wasn't just stagnant, it is being actively churned for fertility reasons. May I wash myself with this and bring fertility and beauty to myself. All kinds of fun spells with apples and roses and all these different kinds of trees that bear fruit and so on, that you're asking for similar beauty from. And then also perfumes, like with the things that wash your mirrors with, so that when you stare back at your
Mhm.
reflection, it makes you more beautiful. It captures, like, especially for the moon, to be captured the light of the moon in a mirror, that we look at ourselves in it, and so on. We're asking, like, "May my beloved always find me beautiful. May I always find myself beautiful. May I not hurt
Mhm.
myself and in some ways harm myself through my own negative self-esteem. May I always find the beauty in myself. May that be something that I look for and that I find, no matter how I feel, even if I'm, you know, having a really hard time and I'm super, and puffy and, from lymphatic drainage is not happening, you're on your period, all these kinds of things. Like you're able to still find it and be like and laugh it off and enjoy it. Like there's so many interesting ways that we kind of um or even just surrounding yourself with things that you find possess beauty and or ingesting like literally food like this rituals to make the food that you make beautiful so that when you eat it it
Mhm.
pleases you too, right? And of course there's plenty of magic where people petition certain saints for this or even fairies for this, although be careful with that caveat obviously.
Mhm.
But there is one of those things that I think is so enduring for in all these different fascinating ways because it's something that is always kind of relevant. And it's as long as it's not a thing that you become fixated on and chase to the exclusion of your mental health, or to the detriment of it. I
Yeah.
think it can be a really fun thing to kind of upkeep in the way that you do your health.
Yeah, and I really like what you said because, like, for me, I think a very recurring theme of a lot of this type of work is sort of the element of water
Mhm,
because, it's reflective, it's cooling, it can be absorbed, we're made of it, and so and it can also change its shape, and so I feel like if you're looking to sort of do something really simple, the washes, the baths, the tinctures, general water stuff can be really helpful.
mhm,
Even creating like your own toners, although again, be careful with
mhm.
creating stuff that you're going to ingest or apply. Make sure everything's organic and that it's safe to use on the skin and that you yourself are not allergic to anything. Or even creating perfume. Like, I really enjoy sort of crafting these perfume mixes, like perfume oil mixes that I use for various purposes, like sort of a magic oil, I really like perfume for this because it's sort of I always find it really interesting, right? Because it's something beautiful in and of itself that we sort of ingest in a way, like you're inhaling something that's applied onto someone else, right? And so that's another way for your sort of influence to reach other people. Yeah, I really like water. You could also do it with smoke and like herbal blends and stuff smoked over the body, or even smoked like a cigarette to influence people, when you breathe the smoke out into them.
Herbal
So
cigarettes
use
are
this with
fun.
caution.
Yeah.
Use this with caution. Some people might get mad.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's another way to craft that sort of glamour, and to sort of get and craft that sort of mystique, that air around yourself that then affects someone else. It's both sort of a blend of the physical and the magical, I would say, is where this kind of stuff does tend to be really exciting. And also because oftentimes, if you're doing it in real time on someone, you can kind of really see the effects kind of take root, which is always really fun. Use with caution, though. Yeah, and also, like, you can use it to sort of craft a lot of drinks, again, to influence the sort of voice stuff, like, I like having a bit of, like, honey and water and stuff with, some prayers over it, or I need to give a speech, or if I need to sing or do anything like that, I think, because the honey obviously is really good for your voice anyway.
Mhm.
But then it has all that elements of being, golden and sweet and smooth that can really help.
Totally. I we were talking about we had Dr. Finch on a few episodes ago to talk about some of her recent work with creating like hoodoo inspired cosmetics.
Mhm.
And ever since that episode I've been enchanting my lip balm, I don't really wear makeup, but like
Yeah.
I have been enchanting my lip balm or my skincare. Like I always keep like um I pray over some essential oils that are healthy for the skin, and I add them to my shampoos. I always like doctor like the actual shampoos and body washes I use to just kind of like protect
Mhm.
me, to cleanse me, and to refresh me. And I swear by my, rose water toner that I also have enchanted
Mhm.
it and prayed over, and, I leave some things on my shrine to Aphrodite as well and have her, look upon it kindly. And, yeah, just making sure that always cautious around shelf life of these things, but definitely still, playing with their enchantment. And you can even, like, on the labels, like, just a green Sharpie and a few sigils, a Venus Kamea,
Yeah.
it goes a long way. A nice, second pentacle of Venus is great for charm,
Mm.
especially in a non-sexual way. Because like, I'm very much not interested in doing any kind of magic to, have people be attracted to me, like, that's not something I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things of, but it's nice to just do for, like, charm.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would also say, like, on the same subject of, what we've been talking about this whole time, or anything that you personally find really beautiful is really good materia to use as well.
Totally.
Um, and, you can always it doesn't necessarily need to be a plant or an herb or, like, anything like that, but just anything that is sort of prized or valued or admired by you,
Mhm.
you can also use in this kind of work.
I liked
I really like what you said earlier as well about enchanting the mirrors. I think that's a very neglected thing that people forget because it's really easy to do,
Mhm.
especially if like what I like to do is after I clean my mirrors, I'll just go over it again with the water that I've made with various herbs and prayers over it and stuff for this
Totally.
purpose. It's just a
I do the
nice
same
thing to add, I think.
I do the same thing, and also on my phone screen, like, when I'm cleaning it, because that
Oh,
is
that's a
honestly
good
the mirror I
one.
look most into.
Mhm. That's a good one. I also really like if people use Instagram, like, I like sort of doing, putting little sigils and stuff in, like, the the transparent and, like,
1%
overlaying
opacity.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 1% opacity. I like to put it in the eye. That's where I like to put it,
Yeah.
because people don't see it, and if they can't see a little bit, it just looks like the reflection of your eye.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and the eyes are the windows of the soul, right?
Mhm, mhm. I love that. A really, 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 like, 1% opacity Nazar emoji into the pupil.
Yeah, that's also really important if you're doing this. You can also layer them, that's the thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Use the layers in the Photoshop. You're
yeah.
gonna
Mhm.
get the Facetune accusation anyway, but they won't guess what you've used it for.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that
continue.
subtle blue glow to your eyes, Key. Oh, that's actually a Nazar emoji.
Well, what glamour did you use to make your eyes blue?
Yeah, that second pedicle Venus can go into anything.
Really, really can.
Key, what's your version of this?
Oh man. I think
Looks max.
they're
This is the looks maxing part of the episode.
yeah, bone mashing or smashing or
No,
whatever the fuck it is.
not not to put you on the spot, but do you have any tips for the mask presenting people
Oh man. I think
besides gym?
that honestly is my tip. Because I think that, there's a physicality involved for sure. But I think depending on what you're going for, there's almost it it makes me think of the planetary kind of multitudes that we were talking about. Even going back to Plato of like what is the masculine finding beauty in its Aphrodite Urania, and still like having that seductive component. It's if you're not in touch with the either side of that, then you're just going down the road of machismo, which is never good, and getting really weird and looks maxy with it. But I think part of it is just going to spirits to be like, let me find confidence is the main thing. Like repress the pride of other spirits and just help me chill in my own skin. Is usually the route that I go for the mask version of attractiveness. Because I think people try too hard to be something they're not. And then the glamour, to speak of it in those terms, becomes very obvious to the point that it shatters. So I think just be chilling. It's my primary advice. But I think same advice applies to with like diet and with what you're nourishing yourself with, especially on like the material, like nutritive level, all in the language of are you offering to your own spirit good things? And is your own spirit in an environment that's conducive to its own flourishing? I treat it almost a little more parenthetically in my own experience because I'm like, is everything good? If so, blessings will be flowing.
Mhm, totally. And I think that, jokes about looks maxing aside, there has been much ink spilled over eating disorders that, men also develop, but they couch it in the language of fitness. and be
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
I'm bulking, I'm cutting, and then it's like describing completely what it and to essentially have an eating disorder. And one of the things that I think is really important is again like what can it be a gift to your body as opposed to a compulsion, or even like in mentioning planetary. I think Vanessa Irena, our good friend from Sword and Scythe, and we were talking a while back about like how working out can be a Mars devotion. It can be
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
like I want to make sure I'm strong. I want to make sure that I'm fit. Like I love working out. It's been a real pleasure to actually engage with it now for a little over 2 years that I've been doing it consistently. After sporadically engaging with it over my life, but now it's become like a real consistent mission, and it's changed so much for my life. It's also made my mediumship sharper just because I'm healthier and a lot more able to handle physical stress and exhaustion. So I think that, that I'll besides the kind of usual things, I think it's good that you mentioned just being like, make sure you're coming at it from a place where it's a gift to yourself and not something that you feel burdened by or compelled to do, because you're trying to meet some kind of standard that doesn't actually exist when sometimes the most charming things about people are the things that might be considered imperfections, but really just bring so much character and depth, as opposed to, what Red was saying earlier about like people's faces looking the same. Like I think I saw a joke being like, oh, I can't take this show seriously because everyone has Instagram face. And it's just like, yeah, you can
Yeah.
tell they all had the exact same work done. And I'm like, this is supposed to be like a historical show, and they all look like they're about to, get on Instagram. It's the same thing,
They all they all have the same surgeon.
they all have the same
They all
surgeon.
look
Yeah,
like
it's like, no,
siblings.
yeah, yeah. It's like, no, but there's a real beauty to character, to like something that is not mass produced, right? But something that has a real unique features that come from one's cultural background and ancestry. Like I think a lot about how I recently got to see a bunch of pictures of my mom when she was young and my grandmother when she was young, and we look so alike. It's uncanny. We look like we could be twins. And that makes me so happy to know that I'm going to age like them because I think they're beautiful women and I think that they're incredible people. And I want to make sure that my children in the future, they don't look at me as somebody who, is ashamed of my ancestral features, but actually, really takes joy in them. And it's like, yeah, I do have my grandmother's eyebrows and my mom's, eyes and so on and her smile. And like, these are beautiful things about all of us that I want to make sure that we continually, part of ancestor veneration for me is also in being comfortable with how I age and not being terrified of aging, but actually thinking this is a privilege that not many get in life. If you look at all my ancestors, like how many get to live that long? Isn't it's a beautiful thing, and it's beautiful to look like the people that you love if you love them, and even beyond that, the features that you have from people you never met before. But part of ancestral veneration is also realizing like they're part of that too, and you can come to look like that and embody their wisdom and grace as you get older. That's not to say that it's a bad thing to do some kind of magic for youth and stuff like that. Not, but more that you don't become obsessed with it to the point that you can't handle it when you see a wrinkle or a gray hair.
Yeah, I think not treating it as punishment is a thing
Yeah,
that comes to mind when we talk about all of this stuff. And not burdening yourself with it. That's why I said, like, think about what you find beautiful. And I don't mean necessarily seeking it from strangers, like it can be from your mom or from your grandmother or something. Like, this is something that I really admire. And if it's in them, it's in me, right? And like, how do I bring it out and enhance that more? I think is a good way to think about it.
I like
Yeah.
this notion, for me at least, of am I doing this because it makes me feel good versus am I doing this to avoid feeling bad?
yeah,
Hmm.
Because the latter, then you're doing protection magic. Whereas the
Hmm.
former, then you're doing beauty magic.
Yeah. I think there is a very fine line, as
Mhm.
with anything regarding, changes in the body, between something that you're doing for yourself and something that you're doing for other people. I think is really important to consider as well. And there has to be a balance, right? As with all things, like everyone has insecurities and everyone has these sorts of things. It's just about not letting the part of you that is so insecure like to the forefront when you're thinking about doing this kind of work. I think is really important, and making sure that you approach everything with a sort of balance and clarity. Oh, but touching on the ancestral stuff, I think there's a really cool sort of necromantic thing that you can do of like buying or borrowing beauty from the dead, whether that's your ancestor or a stranger who was known to be very beautiful in life. I think again there's like nuances to this. It's slightly controversial, but it's a similar thing to, I think, threads of like people buying anything from a spirit. and nuances within sort of who you approach as well and the relationship that you have to them and what you're buying specifically or borrowing.
And how long will it last? Yeah, and making sure that, like,
Mhm.
you're upkeeping it, if you're going back to that grave maybe and you're giving them lots of flowers and you're sharing beautiful things with them and you're saying, like, "Thank you for sharing this with me, I give this to you," because you don't want the dead to be like, "And now I'm clawing it all back."
Yeah,
You get
no.
rapidly aged or something.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's something really interesting, I think, that if you really wanted to, you could do. And other, like, materia things that I really like are sort of spirals and eyes, like, anything that's sort of shiny and reflective or, like, faceted as well, like, gems and things like that. Things that are specifically, like, designed to sort of draw you in and hold your attention, either to sort of divert or fascinate or confuse in different ways, because, you can confuse someone into thinking you're beautiful. Um, or divert their attention to something else, and to sort of mask things that you don't want them to see, or to fascinate them into looking at you and finding you beautiful in various ways and highlighting features, things like that. I kind of like doing this also with, like, sort of the spirit trap type of thing, because everyone is a spirit in the end of the day, to sort of capture their attention or the eye in general. Not the evil eye, just like people's eyes. If you're looking for that kind of attention, I guess, can be really helpful. Or to draw that fascination and glamour towards yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really, really like spirals for this kind of thing. I've got a little, like, talisman that's sort of a very bare bones rose, but it's kind of structured in a way that it looks more like a spiral, and there are little, like, details on it that kind of look like eyes, and then there are little, like, shiny beads attached to it as well, so that's my favorite one,
I love that.
for this kind of thing. Yeah.
I love, like, omnidirectional eye charms where they have multiple eyes looking everywhere, like, he has one
Yeah.
to look
Mhm.
everywhere and watch his back.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of really useful, right? Because it's both, you can pull people in and also, like, protect yourself at the same time. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, we've touched on it before, but, like, there's avenues to sort of do this kind of beauty work with other spirits or deities. You can pray for it, you can ask for it, you can pact for it. Obviously, use caution and be really, really careful with the wording
Mhm.
as well. Again, this is where I would recommend being as specific as possible because, again, spirits might have a very different definition of beauty.
Yeah, what's beautiful to them is you, being their maidservant for the rest of time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or depending on your
Um,
feeling about it, it could look like stealing the youth of someone else or stealing the vitality of someone else,
mhm.
which even in that more explicitly kind of vampiric direction that you mentioned can be extremely powerful, but also can lead to some strange places.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, witchcraft, if you know, you know.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and for wording as well, like, I notice a lot of beauty spells obviously tend to be very image and metaphor heavy. If I were to use that as well, obviously things to do with nature and things that are societally accepted as beautiful, but again, things that you find beautiful, like plays on words that you really like or metaphors that you really like could be really helpful. But again, with the metaphorical stuff, unless it's super specific and clear, again, use with caution because, your words can trap you. Things can be interpreted in different ways. And I also, again, really advocate for things that are a bit more personal and specific to you and your spirits and your goals, because those will always be more effective, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, and you touched on the sort of enchanted skincare and beauty products. I really like, the Burt's Bees Honey Lip Balm, not sponsored. I really like
Yes,
enchanting
not
that,
sponsored.
Not sponsored. I really like that one, for the speech stuff, if you can't be, like, chugging honey before you go on or something like that, carrying enchanting that and carrying it with you can also have a similar effect, I find.
Totally, like,
Um
anything beeswax, I really love to play with because honey is a huge part of my magic, and I love just, like, working with that as material or just, again, like, leaving it on shrines of spirits that promote beauty or
Mhm,
promote charm. For me, I do a lot less to do with physical, like, beauty, like, to make myself feel good in my skin
mhm,
for sure, but I do a lot less of, like, attraction or kind of that kind of angle of beauty, but I do, kind of I do work to to just be like, "May I be hydrated? May I feel good? May I may I feel good in my skin? May I feel comfortable so I could express myself?" Like, I do less like, for, like, a job interview, I could be like, "May I be persuasive? May I be strong? May I come across confident?" That's all great, but in, like, general day to day, it's more like, may my tongue and my lips speak truth, and may I be aligned with my body so I don't have to second guess my decisions, so that I always know
Mm,
what the right thing to do is in that moment that will sit with me in my ethics, so and I don't compromise that because I'll know it automatically, I don't have to think about it.
mhm. I think that's a good point. Like, I mean, we've been trying to emphasize as well, it's not just about attraction magic, right? It's not all about love magic. It's not necessarily about that. There are so many different sort of lenses which to view beauty magic and its goals. And yeah, as much as it can be used for the love and the attraction and all of that stuff, I would really encourage people to experiment with it in different ways and for different purposes as well, because there's so much more to it than just that. And I would also, if you have like beauty or makeup tools, like also sort of enchanting, the tools with which you apply them with yourself can also be really helpful.
Mm,
Whether that is, drawing a sigil on them in like blessed waters or oils or anything like that, or passing them through smoke, blessing them under specific spirits or deities. Or if you've got something, you can even work with the spirit of the product itself, or the ingredients.
mm, mm,
Um, there's a lot you can do, I think, with sort of skincare beauty stuff. Whether it is, a cream that you've made yourself or if it's something you bought from a store, like I think you can just work with it either way. Or even just like creating spells to ensure that your product will deliver exactly what you want without any ill effects or any unexpected side effects.
mm.
Um, for example, if you didn't scry, your skincare and you already bought it and you don't want to throw it out, that's something you could play around with.
Mm. I was gonna say one of my friends, during a very good Venus selection, ended up engraving her jade gua sha,
Mm.
like, with, Venus sigils, and now uses that as, like, her for, like, lymphatic massage,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I thought it was so brilliant.
Yeah, I love that, and I love, using the rollers and stuff, you can do the
Mm.
same. Or, like, even if you've got, like, the high-tech, like, LED masks and stuff, like, I've I've anointed them with things. No, obviously not the side that goes on the skin, but, like, the other side. Don't put oil on it, though, because the oil might react badly with the silicone. But enchanted waters or, like, passing it through smoke blends and things like that can be really helpful.
That's awesome. I'm be real with you, I don't even know what those are. Like, I see
Mhm.
them on Instagram sometimes, and I feel like, a deer in the headlights when I look at it. Can you
The
explain what that
first
is
time
to
I
me?
wore it, so basically it's using so there's like various LED lights, right? And they've got
Uh-huh.
like different frequencies that can sort of penetrate into different levels of your skin and like activate different results. Like I know red light therapy is supposed to be really good for healing inflammation and
Mm,
scarring and anti-aging stuff like that. Or like blue light kind of kills acne causing bacteria, things like that. So when you put it on as like a mask, like it just helps expose your skin to that light and trigger those effects. No, but it looks really scary on. I think I scared my boyfriend the first time he saw me with it. He calls it my like Star Wars like
yeah,
my
you're,
Star
like,
Wars
in the
dummy.
Darth Vader zone.
Yeah, it's like the Darth Vader's out. He's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Who
yeah.
is she? She scares me."
What you
Or
need
like,
is when you have it on, whatever light it is, like, if it's a red light, have a red lightsaber as well.
Mhm.
"Oh my god, yeah, I can defend the house." I was like, you know all those memes about like when the burglar breaks into my house,
Yes.
but I'm still up doing my skincare.
Yes,
That
exactly.
is me. Also, because for a period of time, I used to, like, do it in the dark because I fee like, the thing is the face mask has to stay on for, like, 15 minutes,
Mhm.
and so I would just, like, walk around in the dark with the face mask on.
Start heavy
And
breathing.
no, not heavy breathing, but just, like, doing my normal stuff, and I
No,
didn't
I mean,
realize
like,
how,
you
like,
could
freaky
you
that
could
would
do it
be.
just to scare your boyfriend.
Yeah, but then I did, like it was like, those things that you just do, and then when someone else comes, you're like, "I didn't realize how weird this is,"
Yeah,
until someone else is in the equation, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
yeah. When the brewer breaks in, I say, "You can take anything, just spare me," and then they take my air fryer, and I regret saying that.
Oh, and, like, we were talking about sort of beauty products that have traditionally been used as well.
Mm.
I think we talked about Cole or Kajal.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
There was,
Mhm.
speaking of the British Genie in 2025, our good friend Jam Hamad gave an excellent presentation on the evil eye, and one of the things that they were mentioning was that, well, actually wearing kohl, or especially Ayurvedic kohl, which is really good for your skin as well, as, it's great for dealing with the effects of the sun on the eye. Wearing that around the eye helps you not only protect you from receiving the evil eye, but also protects other people from you giving them the evil eye. It has a double
Mhm.
effect. Or having like henna on the skin that has designs that are meant to distract it, like an eye on the hand that says "Look here" instead, not at my face, but look here, and to take the evil eye off you by redirecting it to other places. Because evil eye is scarcity thinking, right? It's that I want what you have because I can't get it myself. And if you have it, that means there's less of this resource in the world that I want, as opposed to this resource exists abundantly and infinitely, perhaps, and we can both have it. And you having it does not mean that I don't have it. But the nazar, refers to sight and foresight and overlooking. It's a deeper gaze than just staring at something. It's a penetrating gaze, and in addition to kind of exploring Haint Blue in the American South, as well as blue bottle trees, as well as nazars and the planet Saturn, which gives you the evil eye, and Iblis as the great envier, the father of bitterness. Or even like Sekhmet and Hathor with the eye of the sun god, and or the eye of Vishnu and Shiva opening. Like Jay went into all of that and more in the presentation. I highly recommend people buy the recording of it. But one of the things that's really great about all that is in looking at like coal and henna, is thinking like how can you augment the the minerals that are ground down, and this is used by all genders, this is used equally across the gender spectrum, is like how can you augment that on the eye to not only protect yourself. It's beautiful, but it's a kind of eyeliner. There's a
Mhm.
beauty to it, but it also both soothes you from giving it to others and also helps others not give it to you. I think that kind of interplay is so fascinating because when we talk about the evil eye, so often the concern is how do we make sure that we don't get it, or how do we make sure that we cleanse it when we do inevitably get it, since you can't 100%, never get it. It's so common
Mhm.
and ubiquitous, but 'cause it's like getting muddy on your shoes. You just have to wipe it off eventually.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we another aspect of it is how do you not give it? Um,
Mhm.
and I think that's a really interesting and fruitful discussion.
Yeah, and I also like that it's sort of augmenting things that people just use on themselves anyway, because so many people use it still, without using it magically, and so it is an interesting thing of like, how can I use these things that I'm already putting on, and how can I make that part of the magic, right?
Mm,
Um, Also as a side note, for anyone that wants to buy coal or kajal, be careful because there's a lot of like fakes out there now, and then there's like lead in them. So make
yes.
sure you're getting
Yeah,
it
yeah.
from a reputable source. I just
Ye
saw something about this the other day and I got really scared. So just a PSA.
Mhm.
um,
yeah. There was actually, there's, if you look into Ayurvedic cudgels specifically, those ones are had to be formulated with completely healthy ingredients, so I would look for that, when
yeah.
you're shopping around.
And I read that they've got like soothing proproperties for your
Yeah.
eye as well. So
Yep.
when you apply it, it
Mhm.
does actually help.
Mhm.
And I find that really beautiful as well.
Mhm.
Um, Again, with like the stuff of, like all of these correspondences, so to speak, come from something that's not just magical, but also physical and something that can be sort of very tangible within the minerals and the plants and, everything that's around us.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm. I think it's
yeah.
one of the most beautiful examples of magical sympathy in that it's a physical
Mhm.
material having a magical effect inherently.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
Mm.
speaking of protection, shout outs to our 69th episode, decoys and protective boards. So we talk a little about how to make decoys out of your profile pictures. What are the things that your headshots, the author photos. If there's a part of you that's going to be exposed, making sure that's protected, or like going to conferences and having a soap or like a body wash that you bring with you that's against the evil eye or protecting you, because the evil eye can also come from admiration. It's not just envy necessarily, right? It can also come from admiration and be like, "Wow, I love that. I loved your work. That was amazing." And that's beautiful and wonderful and great, but it also is a lot energetically. because it's still being perceived in a very particular way. And it still has its own, too much of a good thing can also be its own thing. So I think that, for those who are performing or who are presenting, it's good to just know that, like, when you're doing this kind of work, it will necessarily by nature attract attention. And it's good to have some kind of protection to, sweep away that particular attention that you're getting, or even just a prayer while you're showering or you're applying your creams and being like, may people be kind to me. That's a good conjuration as well to have when you're applying your products. It's like, may people be happy to see me and glad and charitable towards me. May they give me the charity that I give them. May they assume best intentions. Not project things I don't actually feel. Not assume that I'm plotting on their demise or I'm secretly jealous. But when I'm not, when in reality, I'm looking to cooperate. May there be good tidings and glad, um, goings and passings between us. And I think that's also a good way to kind of continually protect yourself. You can't eliminate 100%. People will totally project, and you will project too. But at the very least, to be like, I'm cultivating an atmosphere where I'm working on that being less the case.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's really well said. I think someone had said to me before that there is no way that, you can just like go about in the world being perceived by people and never get the evil eye, because a lot of times it happens, like you said, sometimes not even by envy, by
Mhm.
admiration. And a lot of times the people that are sending it don't know that they've done it. And so, especially if you're going to do any kind of work that will sort of make you more confident, make you more attractive, make you attract more attention in general, I think it's just really important to have that sort of practice in place as well, and to sort of include protections against that in your workings.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like going out into the world, right? You can't not get your feet dirty. You can't not be in a situation where you never have to wash your clothes or bathe. Like, it's the same kind of principle. It's not something to
Yeah, it's
fear.
just
It's something to be
spiritual
aware of.
hygiene.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and like specific protections as well with this kind of work would be to avoid, sort of catcalling, things like that if you don't like it. Um, or unwanted advances, I think is a really important one.
I'm as an oral charmer, I do oral charms over everything I do, including
Mhm.
my bee propolis drops that go in my tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything. Like, it's just my collagen gummies. There is something to an oral prayer to say, like, may this do this for me.
Mhm.
And reinforcing it, and like I even love carrying a little bit of, like, loose string or ribbon around in my sling bag, and just when something really wonderful is happening, or when I see something really lovely, like a couple kissing and it just looks so in love, or like cherry blossoms blooming, at the end of, the month, in the spring, it's just tying that and be like, "I'm just gonna tie this."
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and then releasing it later when I need a bit of a boost. Or when I need inspiration too. It's like when I'm trying to set up a ritual and I'm like, this is fine, I know it will work, but I need it to be a bit more beautiful. Like, this is part of its virtue is how it will enchant me. And then I release that and I'm like, oh, I just had the exact inspiration. This is what I gotta do. I gotta move it to a different room. I gotta put it here. I gotta go outside. Like, I know how I'm gonna frame this now.
Yeah, I think there's a big link between sort of beauty and inspiration and art, that could also be explored,
Hmm.
um, if anyone makes art in any way. Um, this can be also a really nice way to sort of add enchantment into that into your life.
Totally. Well, before we wrap up, I know you had some charms prepared that you wanted to share.
I did.
Hmm.
A lot of them are very general, I would say. Um, and they kind of lean also more towards sort of charms, talismans, and oral charms. Because we both kind of really like that thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I also really love an oral charm because you can make it as simple or as complicated as you want. Um, you can sort of use it as part of a separate ritual as well. You can add other elements, or you can just speak the charm. It can be really really wonderful to sort of play around with and adapt.
Yeah, well, maybe you can introduce them to us and we'll have Q read them.
Yay! My favorite part. um, the first one that I included is from the Carmina Gadalica. It's not originally intended for beauty, it's the invocation for justice. But this is one of those things that I say I really like to adapt because I love the language of it, and I think it does lend itself to that form. And also, again, it's like that thing of like we were talking about luck, we were talking about privilege, and all of these things, and like portraying an idea onto someone else to view you in a certain way and to bring a certain result. And I think this is a really good example of that, whether you use it in its traditional form or you just use it for that little boost or you're, using it for a different purpose. I think I really like this. It's one of my most used charms, I think, because it's so adaptable for
Mhm.
all circumstances.
I will wash my face in the 9 rays of the sun, as Mary watched her son in the rich fermented milk. Sweetness be in my face, love be in my countenance, dew of honey in my tongue, my breath as the incense. Black is yonder town, black are those within. I am the white swan, queen above them. I will go in the name of God, in likeness of deer, in likeness of horse, in likeness of serpent, in likeness of king. Stronger will it be with me than with all persons.
That's gorgeous.
That's a
Hmm.
really beautiful one.
Hmm.
I love how just perennial the theme of like, milk and honey and richness and kind of this fertility of floating above it, but also like at the end, kind of the strength that, kind of polarity of it being balanced ultimately. I like it.
Yeah, and I think it also goes to show like so much nuance within that, right? It's not just about sweetness, it's not just about love or beauty. It's also about victory, it's about strength, like you said, and borrowing from all these themes of different animals and the various attributes that they can have. I've also picked Valerie Worth, and her books have quite a few beauty charms in there, and I included a few. There are also really nice like talismans in there that obviously we can't include here because you have to see the pictures. um, so worth checking out if you're really interested in this kind of thing. One of the ones that I've selected is from a Crone's Book of Magical Words, and it is to keep beauty from fading.
When all your face appears most fair, when comets and meteors gild your hair, and in your eyes the moon and sun contest surrender and burn as one, when ivory Venus smooths your brow and Mars recurves your lips' red bow, make haste to utter this binding verse and hold the stairs of their kindest course. Figures of fire that shift and change, planets that move by heaven's hinge. Be signed and fixed forever here, and close my image within thy sphere. Measure a yard of golden string, loose from your fingers, let it swing. Then tie in it 13 sturdy knots, hide it among your scents and your pots.
Yeah, I like this one because it's about preserving what's already there, and like we talked about, to sort of keep on your vanity and amongst your various perfumes and creams and things like that. And there's all that like planetary stuff, which obviously I really like.
Mhm. Even with the knot spell, right? It's thinking about, what are you binding? What are you keeping away? What correspondence are you drawing into each knot? What breath of kind of seduction or enchantment are you capturing in each freeze and later? It's evocative. It's a cool
Hmm.
template.
Yeah, and like what notions of beauty, and I think it's really open to sort of customization as well, um, which I really like. Yeah, and another one that I found from her was to keep the hair from falling. And it's sort of a recipe to apply on the hair.
At sunrise, measure a spoonful each and mix in a saucepan all of these: threads of saffron, anise seed, root of ginger, apple wine, clove nectar, cinnamon bark, oil of olives, and leaves of pine. Stir them, simmer them, send this. Spirits conjure phoenix flowers from the ashes of the dead. Tell each hair that touches thee to hold forever to my head. Strain them into a gill of milk mixed with an ounce of melted soap. Warm the whole until it foams. Then wash the hair and nourish hope.
I really like that it ends with nourishing hope.
Also, the theme of nourishment I think is really important, especially with all the hair stuff. There's lots of like hair oils and scalp oils and stuff that you could also use and enchant for that. But I really like that there's that theme of all like nourishment and preservation.
Mm.
Yeah. And kind of across the board, just that, all of this is ultimately an offering to your own spirit. So, like, no matter what side you're on, like, are you doing it because it makes you feel good, because it makes you hopeful, because it gives you life and levity and confidence and strength? It's all good.
And I also think like touching on hair and all of that stuff, like it has been sort of like present within many cultures. The idea of hair as beauty and power, and that it can hold enchantments and things like that. And so I think it is one of the things that is important to sort of nourish and enchant and, take care of. And then the next one is a potion for youth preserved.
These four, 1 spoonful each, combined juice of apples, freshly pressed, cider aged past 7 days, apple vinegar, tart and brown, apple brandy, clear and strong. Add this to an ounce of honey, 1 scant drop of wintergreen. Stir them, warm them, mix them well, and take the tonic every dawn, saying this to work the spell. If I must pay the apple's price, I shall be young as well as wise, filling my cup with honeyed days, and hours as green as Eden's grass.
I really like this one because the recipe itself kind of mimics a lot of health tonics
Yeah.
and like vitality in general. There are loads of other spells in this book as well, by the way. There's also one that says for beauty after death, but I didn't include it because I don't know why. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I don't think that's very useful.
Mogging from the crypt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know who that's for, but if you're interested, it is there.
It's for when your corpse gets dug up, they like, damn, that jawline is crisp.
Yeah. Yeah, like mug. They don't touch your body because they're like, oh my god, I can't.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then there's the to turn the hair long and golden one, which I didn't include because I am brunette and I don't like to promote blonde supremacy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine if he was a natural brunette too, but like he just did that spell and that's why it's so long and gold.
Oh my god, don't expose the secret. But yeah, if you're interested, you can find that on your own. And there are a few like PGM spells as well, which I didn't include because they're very long.
Yeah. But just give us the numbers so people can look them up if they want to.
I feel like I'm being bullied because I don't like numbers, but okay.
Wow. It's like that. I saw a meme recently that was just like, hey, if we're ever trying to like calculate something together, like mathematically, just know that I'm faking it. It's all you.
Yeah, I know. I always do this where I'm like, and I pretend to think until someone does calculate. I was in an escape room once, and then we were doing so well until there was a mathematical like equation. And what we ended up doing was we used our like help, so we just like called them, and we were like, we can't solve this. None of us can do math. And then they gave us the number, and we immediately forgot. So we had to call them again, and we were like, my bad. We forgot the number.
Walk of shame.
It's so funny.
I love
Yeah.
escape rooms. Yeah.
I promise I'm not stupid.
No, it's, I was just we did an escape room recently for another friend's birthday, and it was like he, myself, and a few other people, and the people who scried were just crushing the escape room by like scrying ahead of the order of puzzles by seeing and it was like a haunted house, like a rune themed one too, with like all kinds of fun little occult things. So we just nailed it. We apparently like got the fastest time ever in that one just because we low key cheated with scrying.
That's so funny. But yeah, the PGM spells are 101 point. Let's cut that. Let's cut that. I'm always nervous when I see long strings of numbers. I swear I'm gonna say something wrong. I'm gonna get bullied.
Okay. Do you want me to say it?
Yes.
Okay. So the the PGM rights that Red found for us are PGM 3, 494 to 611. This is a spell to establish a relationship with Helios that can help promote all these virtues and more. And PGM 8, 1 to 63, which is a love spell of Astrop Sokos. Check them out, use their conjurations, play with them, use them as wall charms.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, I can't. Every time I see numbers, I'm like, no.
Hey, but number dyslexia is a real thing, though, so don't worry about a thing.
I'm just scared of them.
Oh, okay, never mind.
I just don't like them.
It's
No,
like
I think I
spell to
might have
ward
it.
spell to ward against red.
Yeah.
Like a number code, like just infinitely generated.
The giant,
Yeah.
like, kamea that just mathematically is a little off.
Yeah, it'll keep me away. I'll just see it and my brain will be like, "No, not worth it."
Well, thank you so much, Red. This was beautifully done, really nuanced, and just an excellent, fruitful discussion. I hope our listeners enjoyed it. If you're in the Discord server, let us know your beauty magic routine, and maybe we can all share and glam up together.
Yeah. Hot witch summer.
Hot witch summer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm waiting all episode to say that.
Yes, you got it up. You did it. All right, our Akashic Records. Mine is Crushing by Earth Eater. 1, because I love Earth Eater, and 2, because that's what people are gonna be feeling once you use these tips.
Oh, yeah. And for me, I got the classic Rufus de Sol Inner Bloom,
Oh my god.
because you have not known the beauty of another person till you have stared them in the eyes as this plays at 3 in the morning at a rave, even if it's a
Yes,
complete stranger.
that is true. That is
And I
true.
choose Aquamarine by Addison Rae because it's a hot girl summer song, I think, and it's all like sparkly and you know, it gets you in the vibe.
Hell yeah. Love, love, love it. And what license to depart did you choose for us?
I chose from the British Book of Spells and Charms by Graham King, a spell for women to be more beautiful and to be protected from men.
Hell yes. To be
Yeah.
recited early summer under a waxing moon while gathering yarrow. All right, Key, it's time to protect the girls.
I will pick the smooth yarrow, that my figure may be more elegant, that my lips may be warmer, that my voice may be more cheerful. May my voice be like a sunbeam, may my lips be like the juice of the strawberries. May I be an island in the sea, may I be a hill in the land, may I be a star when the moon wanes, may I be a staff to the weak one. I shall wound every man, no man shall wound me. I had no idea what to say this whole episode because my version of this is just, I don't know, go to gym one more time a week and put 2 more kilograms onto the weights than you thought you would.